Godzilla, X-Con, X-Kong, The New Empire. I am not redoing this again. Um, my initial thoughts. Well, it's kind of like the other movies. They're good. Let me try to put it this way. This movie is like there is three sections of this movie. Okay, there is Godzilla that is pretty much leveling up throughout this entire movie up into towards nearly the end. There's Kong, which there's a couple of different things that goes in this movie, but one of the things is that he is not invincible, right? Oh, also, by the way, there's going to be some spoilers. I'm trying to keep from being like the major spoilers, but there are going to be some spoilers. Just to let you know. Like, there's a point where there's a point where Kong has a rotten tooth, so he goes to the surface to, I don't know, have this monster dentist take care of it. Yeah, I know it's exactly as silly as it sounds, but that's literally what up happening. The point of that scene is to show that he's not invincible, right? So there's Kong, there's Godzilla, and then there's the humans, right? And it all culminates towards the end, but like up until a point, it's like you're following three stories. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's more stories, so I guess it's good. But for some people, I can see it being confusing, right? Now, the fight scenes are great. They're amazing. The visual effects is just they're on point, you know. Um, and then obviously there's a point where they have to team up to face this new threat. There's one point, right, where Godzilla, he's on top, he's in regular Earth, whatever, and Kong, he has his place, right, and like that's the deal. When they last leave, it's like they look at each other like, bro, I don't want to see you anymore, right? There's a point where Kong, comes to Godzilla for help, and the minute that he even senses him to the point where he sees him, Godzilla just looks at him like, you had a goddamn deal. What the hell are you doing here? So he wastes no time and just start fighting, right? He just starts fighting, and guys, Kong is like, bro, listen, can we just like talk for like 5 minutes? But Godzilla, well, he's Godzilla, so he ain't trying to hear, right? So they get into a little bit of a tough or whatever, right? Now I'm not gonna lie, I do gotta spoil this one. There's this one scene where Godzilla does something where he literally suplexes Kong, and you're just like, can I just rewind that for like 5 seconds and see that again? Because it's like you just did not see that coming, right? So they're fighting, they're going back and forth, and guys, Kong is just like, yo, just chill out or whatever. Then there's I will sit there and say the mysterious ally. Not gonna sit there and say what it is. And towards the end, they want to fight this guy. It's a great scene. There's one point. There's one point where it's like this guy don't know who Godzilla is, and Godzilla pretty much kind of has to put him in his place. And it's just a great scene. It's just a great scene. It's like this movie is long, by the way. If you do not like, well, I mean, granted, if you didn't see the other movies and you're just trying to just jump into this one, it's not really the movie. I mean, you can, because it's not like you really need to know a lot about. And I think that's probably maybe a selling point is that if you miss the first two movies or whatever, you can just dive into this movie. You don't really need to know what's going on with the other stuff. Now, there is a TV show called Monarch. I didn't watch it. Maybe I will one day. But like even that, you don't need to say. I mean, I guess it's good for the people that watch the show, not watch the other movies. But you can pretty much just kind of dive into it. Just understand that it is a long movie, and there is like three separate side stories that winds up going on until you get into the major climax of the movie, which is good. It's a good movie. I mean, if you're a Godzilla fan, I don't know. It's the problem with this movie, right? Like I always feel like a lot of these movies that come out now, it gets a certain level of unnecessary hate. Like there's a poster of Godzilla and Kong, and Kong has this thing on his arm, and people are just like, oh, it's they're Avengering it up. It's just like Avengers, and I'm like, if you actually watch the movie, there's a reason why that thing is there for. You know. Also, if you gonna be watching this movie, just to let you know, there's no point in waiting towards the end. No point in waiting towards the end because there's no after scene credits. Now I do hope that there's another movie that comes after this one, and if it is, hopefully it's Space Godzilla. I'm old school, so I watched all of the old Godzilla movies and stuff like that. And to this day, I will always sit there and say that Space Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla is my favorite movie. But point is, if you like the other ones, you're gonna like this one. If you're new to it, I don't think you're gonna hate it. But if you're just like if you just want to sit there and try something different, I don't know if this is the movie for you. Just because again you have like three separate stories that's going on, and it's like if you're just coming into it, you're going to be lost pretty fast. And be like, well, what about this story? And then discuss this story, then discuss that story, then discuss this story. So it's like it, for the average viewer, it could just seem very confusing, very jarring, and it's towards the end, and then it's like there's a bunch of action, and if you're confused and you're not liking it up until this point, yeah, it's not going to be for you. Um, some of the stuff I could definitely appreciate in this movie because I did watch all the old Godzilla movies and stuff like that before it. So certain little things, scenes in a movie is like, oh, okay, it's like so and so, or it's like those other movies, or it's like that one particular movie. I don't know. I don't know. It's very hard to sit there and rate this one because I mean, if you watch the old like the Japanese movies and stuff like that, then it's probably not going to be for you. I would sit there and say stick to more like the -1 Godzilla movies, those type of movies. Um, but if you watch the other ones and you like the other ones, you're gonna like this one. I love the team up with Godzilla and Kong. And I'm gonna sit there and say, they come out with another movie. Kong better sit there and give him like a text message or something before he just comes back to the surface because Godzilla don't be playing. Okay, there's no talking, there's no, there's none of that. It's on site with Godzilla, and I love that. He just keeps that same energy. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta sit there and say. If you did like the movie, let me know why you liked the movie. If you didn't like the movie, let me know why you didn't like the movie. Um, I can see why people wouldn't have liked the movie for obvious reasons, but I enjoyed the movie. I like the other ones. I like this one. I feel like with these movies, a lot of times it's like you just can't win with certain people, right? Because the first Godzilla movie, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I felt like it wasn't enough action, right? And then Godzilla, part two comes out, and people was like, "Whoa, there's too much action. There's not enough story." And it's like, well, what do you people want? And I understand a balance of both. I think they did actually do a good job, but it's like you're never going to sit there and make everyone happy with a movie. It's like a movie is not going to be perfect. You know, you can't please everyone, and I think that just goes for life in general. Um, so let me know what you think of it. And with that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.